So now we are going to see about threaded binary tree. First, we will understand what is called as a threaded binary tree, why we need to go for threaded binary tree. For that, you have to consider the linked list based representation of a binary tree. Now let us consider this tree. It is a binary tree. Binary tree means every node will have either 0 child nodes or 1 child node or otherwise 2 children. And it is not a complete binary tree. It is simply a binary tree. That means that you can see here, I have filled levels level 2 without I have filled level 3 without completing level 2. That means D, E are in level 2. Actually, there should be 4 nodes in level 2. I have not filled the remaining nodes. I have filled the next level. It is possible in case of a normal binary tree. Only in complete binary tree, we have certain limitation. But now we are going to focus on a normal binary tree where a node can have any number of child nodes starting from 0 up to maximum of 2. Now I am going to represent this binary tree as a linked list. You can represent a binary tree either as array or otherwise as a linked list. Now let us see what will happen when I represent this binary tree as a linked list. So I am representing this binary tree as a linked list. So every node will have now 3 fields. One field is the data field, that is a middle field where you are going to store the key value of the node. Here A is a key value I am storing here. Then the nodes will have 2 pointers. One pointer is pointed to the left child and the other pointer is pointed to the right child. So this is the data structure for storing every node in the binary tree. Now in this we have a disadvantage. So what is the disadvantage is, you can look at this tree. This is totally having 7 nodes, and out of the 7 nodes, 4 nodes are leaf nodes. So the leaf nodes of the tree are D, F, G and C. And how the leaf nodes are stored in the linked list implementation. So if you look at the leaf node D, since it is a leaf node, it will not have any children. Therefore, both the right and the left pointers will have null value in that, indicating that the node is not having any children. So if you look at this tree, totally I have 4 leaf nodes. So all the 4 leaf nodes are having the child pointers as null. So there is a formula to compute how many null pointers are there in a binary tree. So the formula is, if you have totally n nodes in a binary tree, the total number of pointers will be 2 multiplied by n, because it is a binary tree. So every node will have 2 pointers, one to the right child, another to the left child. So total number of pointers will be 2 multiplied by n. Out of 2 multiplied by n pointers, you will have n plus 1 null pointers. So here I have n as 7. So if you count the null pointers, you will have 8. For example, you can see here for D, I have 2 null pointers. Then for F, I have 2 null pointers, totally 4 so far. Then for G, 2 null pointers, 6. Then for C, 2 null pointers, 8. So when I have 7 nodes in total, out of 14 pointers, 8 pointers are null. So what is the meaning of null pointer? What it indicates? Actually, we go for pointers to store the address of the child nodes. But the null pointer indicates that you are not storing the address of any child node. That means some memory is allocated for the null pointer, but you are not utilizing the memory. Right? So in case of this linked list representation of a binary tree, we have the disadvantage, that is the left and the right pointers of the leaf nodes are null. So due to this, more amount of memory is wasted. So how much memory is wasted? It depends upon what? It depends upon how many memory locations are allocated for every pointer. Actually, it depends upon the compiler. If you assume that for every pointer variable, 8 memory locations are allocated, according to the previous example, 8 multiplied by 8, 64 memory locations are wasted. So we are going to reduce the wastage of this memory. Actually, you can't reduce the wastage. Instead, you can use it efficiently for storing some other information. You have to allocate for every node 2 pointers only, because it is a binary tree. Maybe in the future, you may add the child nodes, so you can't reduce the wastage. But you can make use of that information to store some additional information, which will ease up your process. So what information we are going to store in that? So that is nothing but we have the information of predecessor and successor nodes. So in case of a binary tree, the leaf nodes are having null pointers. Because of the null pointers, we are wasting the memory. To reduce the wastage of the memory, we are going to store meaningful information in the place of the null pointer. So what meaningful information we are going to store is the information about the predecessor and then the successor. So what is a predecessor and what is a successor? So when you travel any node or any tree, when you travel any tree, during the travel, first you will visit some node. After that, you will go to the second node, then third node, and so on. So whichever node appears before a particular node in the traversal, that is called as predecessor. And whichever node appears after a particular node in the traversal, that is called as successor. We generally focus on the immediate predecessor and then immediate successor only. Okay, right. So we are going to store information about those predecessor and successor in case of a threaded binary tree. So here, suppose for some nodes, you will not have any in-order predecessor or in-order successor. Let me tell you what is in-order predecessor and in-order successor later. We are going to store the information about the predecessor and successor, and all the nodes will not have predecessor and successor information. Suppose if a node is not having any information, then what you're going to store in that pointer. So in that case, we can either store the address of the root node, or you can leave null itself, or otherwise you can store the address of a dummy node. We will create a dummy node like the head node in a linked list, and we will store the address of that dummy node in the case of the predecessor and successor if a node is not having any. And why we need to go for information like this? So the main idea of threaded binary tree is you can perform the in-order traversal faster without using stack. Actually, in trees, we have seen that we have three different traversals: in order, pre-order, and post-order. And for the traversal, we are going to use a stack. The stack will be used either implicitly or explicitly. In today's lab, we will see the program. There you will understand. So you can perform the traversal by using either recursive implementation or iterative implementation. Recursive implementation means a function for the traversal will be calling itself. And iterative implementation means you will write the function with the help of a loop. There will not be any recursive call. Instead, the function will have a loop. Okay, and here, in case of recursive traversal, we will be using stacks implicitly. Implicitly means you will not use it, compiler will be automatically using it. And in case of iterative implementation, you will use stack explicitly. That means programmer will use a stack explicitly when they are writing the program. So in both the cases, whether you go for recursive implementation or iterative implementation, if you want to perform the traversal, you have to go for the stack. So we have already seen that when we use stacks, we have disadvantage. So what is the disadvantages? In stack, we are going to store so many parameters. We are going to push the parameters. Then after the work is over, we have to pop the parameters. So push and pop is going to take some time. So we want to reduce that time. And one more thing is, in many computers, the stack memory may be limited. If you don't have the stack space, then you have to use it efficiently. So try to avoid stack if it is not available. That is, if more stack space is not available, means use it efficiently. Wherever possible, try to reduce the usage of the stack. So in those applications, this will be useful. Now I think you understood what is a threaded binary tree. Let us see one example. First, before the example, we will focus on the types of the threaded binary tree. In case of threaded binary tree, we have two types. One is known as single threaded binary tree and the other is known as double threaded binary tree. It is based upon how many null pointers you are using for storing the information about the thread. If you are using out of the two null pointers, if you are using only one null pointer, that is called as single threaded binary tree. If you are using both the null pointers to store the predecessor and successor information, that is called as double threaded binary tree. Now let us see in detail. So in case of single threaded binary tree, one of the null pointer contains useful information. For example, you can use the right null pointer to point to the in-order successor. In-order successor means successor in the in-order traversal. So in this case, I am making use of only one null pointer. Suppose if the successor is not existing, as I already told you, you will either store null or otherwise address of the root node or otherwise address of a dummy node. And what is the use of this successor information? So the successor threads are useful for in-order traversal. We will see in the example later. So this is called a single threaded binary tree. And next is double threaded binary tree. Here, both the null pointers will contain useful information. And you will use the left null pointer and right null pointers to point to in-order predecessor. In-order predecessor is for this left pointer and in-order successor is for right null pointer. Okay, so you will be using both the pointers to point to the predecessor and successor of the in-order traversal. And the successor threads are useful for in-order traversal and the predecessor threads are useful for reverse in-order traversal. Reverse in-order traversal means whatever is the in-order traversal, print it in the reverse direction. Okay, so the predecessor threads will be useful for that and successor threads will be useful for in-order traversal. And you can also use the predecessor threads for the post-order traversal. Okay, so if you have single threaded binary tree, you can perform in-order traversal easily from the successor thread. If you have double binary tree, you can perform in-order traversal easily from the successor thread, and you can perform reverse in-order traversal as well as post-order traversal from the predecessor thread. So we have more advantage in case of double threaded binary tree. So we are going to focus that in the next slide. And let us see whatever I have explained so far, I have represented as a diagram. So this is a single threaded binary tree. So if you see here, there are two pointers. To indicate the right pointer, I have used the red color arrow. And then to indicate the left pointer, I have used the green color arrow. And you can look at the different types of link. I have a blue color link. This link is indicating that A is having two children. One is B, another is C. So blue link is indicating the child nodes, normal child nodes. And red color link is indicating that it is not a child node, it is a thread. Okay, so what thread it is? There are two threads now, right thread and then left thread. So red color node is indicating that it is the right thread. Okay, and in this diagram you can see blue color node is indicating normal children and red thread is nothing but red color is indicating right thread and green color is indicating left thread. So in case of a single threaded binary tree, I am going to make use of only the right pointer and it will be used for two purposes. Okay, you see the internal nodes, the right pointer is pointing to the right child. Okay, internal nodes will have both the pointers. The right pointer will point to the right child. Whereas in case of the leaf node, the right pointer is not going to point to the right child because leaf node is not having any child node. Instead, it will point to the in-order successor. Okay, and then in case of the double-threaded binary tree, the right pointer is used for two purposes. If the node is an internal node, it will point to the right child. If the node is a leaf node, the right pointer will point to the in-order successor. And then the left pointer is again used for two purposes. If the node is internal node, it will point to the left child. If it is a leaf node, it will point to in-order predecessor. Right? This is the difference about single threaded and then double threaded binary tree. In this tree, we have totally 7 nodes starting from A up to G. And then we have the dummy node. X represents the dummy node. And then I'm going to now explain you how the threads are pointing in case of single threaded binary tree and then in case of double threaded binary tree. So the tree is same for both the cases. Let us first find out the in-order traversal. In in-order traversal, first you have to write the left child, then the root node, and then the right child. So for this particular tree, the in-order traversal is first you will start with A, go to the left, B. Now it is also having a left child. So go to the left, D. D is the last node in the left direction. So you will be printing D now. After that, first you will print D. After that, you will print the root node B. Then you will print the right child. The right child is a subtree. So again, you have to process that with respect to the in-order traversal. So go and print the leaf node in the left direction. So that is nothing but F. After that, E will be printed, then G will be printed. Now I have printed this entire left subtree. Then I will be printing A. Then I'll be printing C. And don't print this dummy node in the in-order traversal. This is only for our purpose in our threaded binary tree. So the in-order traversal of this particular tree is like this. Now let us see how we are going to make use of the threads. So in case of single threaded binary tree, we are storing information only about the in-order successor. That information is stored only in the right child, right null pointer, not in the left null pointer. So you can focus here. I'm considering the node D because it is a leaf node. I have to draw the thread only for the leaf node. So D is a leaf node. I'm considering node D. Go to the in-order traversal, find out what is the successor of that node. In the in-order traversal, the successor of D is B. Therefore, the right pointer should point to B. Now you can see the arrow direction, it is upward arrow. For the link, we will represent only downward arrow for the normal child, but it is a thread, so we will represent by means of upward arrow. So D is now pointing to its in-order successor B. Then don't do anything for the left pointer because it is only single threaded binary tree. Then go to the next leaf node F. See the in-order successor, in-order traversal, and find out the successor of F. So the successor of F in the in-order traversal is E. Therefore, the right null pointer of F should point to E. Then the next leaf node is G. In the in-order traversal, the successor of G is A. So make the right pointer of G to point to A. Don't do anything with respect to the left pointer. Then the next leaf node is C. The in-order successor of C you have to look at. Go to the in-order traversal. For C, there is no in-order successor. That means when a node is not having any successor, you can make the node either to point to the root node, or otherwise you can leave that as null, or you can make the node to point to the dummy node. Here we have created a dummy node for our reference. So you can make this node to point to the dummy node. The reason is it is not having any successor in the in-order traversal. So this is how you are going to store information in the null pointers in case of a single threaded binary tree. Now let us see what we are going to store in the double threaded binary tree. So in case of double threaded binary tree, I'm not going to focus on the red color pointers because just now we have seen they will be storing information about the successor in the in-order traversal. Now look at the left null pointer. In left null pointer, we are going to store information about the predecessor in the in-order traversal. So let us look at the left pointer of node D. So you have to store information about the predecessor of D in the in-order traversal. Look at the D position. It is the first node. There is no predecessor for this node in the in-order traversal. Therefore, you have to make the left pointer of the node D to point to the dummy node. Then look at the next leaf node F. In the in-order traversal, the predecessor for F is B. So make the null pointer in the left to point to B. Then take the next node G. In the in-order traversal, the predecessor is E. So now the left null pointer of E is pointing to C. G is pointing to E. The meaning is the address of E will be stored in G. Then take the next leaf node, that is C. In the in-order traversal, its predecessor is A. So make the left null pointer to point to A. So this is how we are going to store the information. Now let us see that information with the help of a linked list representation, and we will now see how to represent those nodes in a program. Suppose if you want to write a program for a threaded binary tree, you should know how to declare that particular node. So for declaring nodes of any tree, we are going to use structure only. So here I am going to use a structure. We are going to focus on double threaded binary tree only. So every node in the double threaded binary tree will have totally 5 fields. So far we have seen that a node in a tree will have 3 fields: data field, then left pointer, and then right pointer. But in case of a threaded binary tree, if it is double threaded binary tree, every node will have 5 fields. Let me tell you what are the fields. The first field is the data field. So you will be declaring that as int data. It will contain the information what you are going to store in the node. Then the second field is a pointer to the left child. If it is a leaf node, there will not be any left child. In that case, it will point to the in-order predecessor. And then another field is pointer to the right child or in-order successor. So up to these things we have seen in normal binary tree also. The last two fields are new for the threaded binary tree. So what is the additional information we are going to store in a threaded binary tree is, if you consider the pointers can either point to the normal children, or otherwise, if it is a leaf node, they will contain information about in-order predecessor and successor. So there are two cases now. You should identify whether it is pointing to a normal child or it is pointing to a thread, that is the predecessor or successor information. For that, you need one field. So for that only, we are using an extra field. So for every pointer, you need one extra field because it is a double threaded binary tree. So we have now two extra fields. So one is integer field left thread. It can have either the value as 1 or 0. If it is 1, it means that the pointer is pointing to the in-order predecessor. That means it is a thread. It is not a normal child link. It is a thread. If that value is 0, it indicates that it is a normal pointer to the child node. So we have this information in the left thread. Similarly, you have to store this information for the right thread also. So for that, we need one more field. So if that is 1, it indicates that the pointer is going to point to in-order successor. If it is 0, it indicates that the right pointer is pointing to the normal right child. Now, if I want to declare a single threaded binary tree, how many fields should be there in a structure? So if it is a single threaded binary tree, you will have the data field, then node left, node right. The first three information will be there. Now you are storing the thread information only in one pointer, that is in the right pointer only, not in the left pointer. Therefore, you will not have the line number 6 because the left child is not used for storing information about any thread. You will have only the line number 7 where you are going to tell whether in your right pointer you are going to store information about the right thread or otherwise normal right child. So in case of a single threaded binary tree, we will have totally 4 fields in the node. So now this is about the structure of a node in a double threaded binary tree. Now we will move on to the linked list based representation of this binary tree. So this we have already seen in so many classes. Let me see one more time. So here this is a binary tree given to me. I am representing this as a linked list. Only in the leaf node I am having null value. In all the remaining nodes, I will have the address of its children. For example, if I consider node A, in the left pointer, I am going to store the address of its left child, that is node B, which is available at the address 200. So I am storing here 200. If I consider the right pointer of A, the right child of A is C, so I am going to store the address of C, that is 300. Likewise, you will store for all the nodes other than the leaf nodes. In the leaf nodes, both the pointers will be null. Now, this is a normal linked list based representation. Now, you have to represent the same using double threaded binary tree. So now, let us see how to do that. This is the linked list based representation of a double threaded binary tree. So now, if you look at the nodes, for every node, I have totally 5 fields. Look at the first node X. X is the dummy node. You will make this dummy node to point to the root node. Okay, don't consider the last 2 fields. Leave the last 2 extremes. That is, don't focus on this 0 as well as 1. Consider the remaining 3. The remaining 3 are our normal fields we are going to use. So whatever is at the center, that is the data field, and whatever is here, that is the left pointer, and this one is the right pointer. Now we are creating a dummy node. In case of the dummy node, we are going to represent the data as some variable. Let us assume that I am going to represent as X. And I will make the dummy pointer to point to the root node of the tree. For that, I need one pointer. So for that, I'm making use of the left pointer of the dummy node. And in case of the right pointer, I'm going to use the pointer to point to the same node. So the address of the dummy node is 50. So in the right pointer of the dummy node, I'm storing 50. It means it is going to point to itself. Okay. And when your linked list double threaded binary tree is empty, you will have only this pointing to itself. Nothing will be there. So this link will not have any value. Now, what information we have in the remaining nodes? The remaining nodes are having the same information I have explained in the previous slide. Now, let us focus on the two extreme fields, 0 and 1. If you see, whatever is, whichever node is having its children, that field will be having 0. 0 means you are not storing any thread information. Node A is having both the children. So for that node, you will store 0 for both the children. That is, in the last extreme fields, we are going to store 0. And node B is also having both the children. So in B also, you store 0 for both the fields. Because they are going to point to their children only. You are not going to make use of the thread there. Similarly, you look at node E, it is having both the children. So you store 0 for that. Now, we will see what will happen in the leaf nodes. In the leaf nodes, as I already told you, you are going to store information about the threads. That is in-order predecessor and in-order successor. So don't store 0 there. Since we are storing information about the thread, we have to tell that to the programmer that it contains the predecessor and successor information. So for that, we are going to store 1 here. So in all the leaf nodes, the last two extreme fields will be having the value of 1. We will update this null information with the help of the address of the successor and the predecessor. So just now I have explained in the previous slide. So in the right child, in the right pointer, you are going to represent the information about the successor. Let us focus on node D first. So from where I have to get this address? If you want to write this address, you have to first find out the in-order traversal. So I have explained the in-order traversal of that tree. So that is written here. With the help of this information only, I am going to fill these data. So for node D, there is no in-order predecessor. So you have to write the address of the dummy node here. So the address of the dummy node is 50. So fill that in the left child, because left child is going to point to in-order predecessor, that is now dummy node. So fill 50. Then in the right child, that is in the right pointer, you are going to fill the address of the in-order successor. So in-order successor is B, which is available at the address through 200. So write 200 here. Now we have replaced both the null pointers of node D to point to in-order predecessor and then in-order successor respectively. Likewise, you have to write for the remaining leaf nodes also. Now let us consider F. For F, the in-order predecessor is B. So address of B is 200. So that I am storing here. And in-order successor is E. E is available at the address 500. That is stored in the right pointer. So I have replaced both the null pointers now. Now let us focus on node G. For node G, in-order predecessor is E, which is available at the address 500. So I am storing 500 in the left pointer. And in-order successor for G is A. It is available at the address 100. So in the right pointer of G, I am storing 100. Then for node C, the in-order predecessor is A. It is available at the address 100. Store it at the left pointer. And there is no in-order successor for node C. So in the right pointer, you have to store the address of the dummy node. So 50, I am storing in the right pointer. So this is how you are going to replace the threads with the help of the address of the in-order successor and predecessor. Now let us look at how to perform in-order traversal from this threaded binary tree. Because I told that the main advantage of double-threaded binary tree is you can perform in-order traversal, reverse in-order traversal, and then post-order traversal also. We are going to focus on only in-order traversal. Let's focus on the steps now. First, you will start with the dummy node. The address of the dummy node will be given to you. With that, you travel to the root node of the tree with the help of the left pointer in the dummy node. So 100 is here. So with 100, I am going to the root node. Root node is having it is stored at the address 100. Then I want to perform the in-order traversal. So first what I have to do is, in in-order traversal, first I have to travel with the help of the left pointers till I reach 1 in the thread field. Okay, so now here you can see I have 0 in the thread field. So don't print anything, just look at the left pointer. Left pointer is 200. Go to that address now. In that address, see what is this field. It is 0 again. So don't print anything. Look at the left pointer. It is 400. Go to that address. Now in 400, I have this field as 1. It means it is thread. Okay. So the thread is going to tell you that the thread will tell the value of the in-order predecessor or successor. Now, once you reach the node with 1 in the thread field, you have to print the value of that node. Here, the value of the node is D. Okay, so you can print it. So in my output, I have D first. So when you do the in-order traversal of this particular tree, what will appear in your output first? That is D. That is printed. But we are traveling only with the help of these pointers. We are not doing anything else. Right. Now I have printed D. So once you print the value of a node, after that, you see your right child. Here, right child is 1. The moment you print the value of a node, you have to see the right child. Okay, so here the right child is 1. When the right child is 1, it means that it is a thread. Okay, the value of the in-order successor, we are storing here. Where we are storing the in-order successor, that is in the right pointer. So you take the right pointer value, it is 200. Go to that address. Then you see what node is present there. So in the address 200, I have B. So that is my in-order successor. So I can immediately print that also. So you can see here, now in the output, I have printed B also, right? So why I have printed B is, after printing D, I'm checking the last field, it is 1. It means that it is a thread. That thread will contain the address of the in-order successor. So I am getting the address of the in-order successor from the right thread. It is 200. I am going there. I am printing the in-order successor. So after you print B, you check the right last field again here in the right direction. It is 0. When it is 0, whatever address is available here, that is not the in-order successor address. If it is 1, you will have the address of the in-order successor, but now it is 0. That means this address is not the address of the in-order successor. But you need to print the in-order successor. How to do that? You don't have the address now. So this is a normal node. So this node is having its children. It is not a leaf node. It is a normal node. In that case, you will not have the in-order successor address here. So what you have to do is, once you reach a node like this, it is a right pointer. So you take this pointer and go to the next node. So I'm taking this address 500, going to the next node, that is E. Then you check the left pointer of that again. Here left pointer is 0. That means it is not a thread. So take this address 600 and again go to that address. So I'm going to 600. In that, I'm checking the left pointer. It is 1. So 1 means it is a thread. Okay. So once you reach a thread, that is a leaf node. Okay. So you have to print that node also. So I am printing F. Now in my output, I am getting F. Okay. So now after I print F, I have to see the right pointer value. Here the right pointer value is 500. Okay. And also I have 1 here. When 1 is available here, it means that this 500 is the address of the in-order successor. So you straightly go to that address 500 and print the in-order successor. So in-order successor is now E. So I am printing it immediately. Okay. If it is 1, you will print the in-order successor immediately. If it is 0, you have to make the travel again. You have to find out a leaf node, then you will be printing. Okay. So now I have printed the in-order successor E immediately. After printing E, I am checking the last field. It is 0. When it is 0, it means that it is not the address of the in-order successor. So what you have to do, you travel through this pointer and go to the node which is having 1 in that last field. So I am taking the address 700. I am going to the address 700. In that I have the last field as 1. That means it is a leaf node. So what I have to do now, I have to print the leaf node. So I am printing G. So G is appearing at the output. After that, once you print G, take this address. Here you have 1. That means this address is going to tell you the in-order successor. So go to 100 and see the data, immediately print the data. So the data is A. So A will be now printed in the output. After printing A, again, you have to take this pointer and see the field, last field, it is 0. That means when you go to this address, you will not get your successor immediately. Okay, so just you travel through that. Maybe sometimes you will have the successor there if it is a leaf node. Okay, so take this address 300 and go to this address 300. Now you check the last field. The last field is 1. That means it is a leaf node. So you have to print the leaf node. So I am printing now C. After printing C, you take the right pointer. So the right pointer is 50 and it is 1 here. 1 means it will contain information about the in-order successor. So you take this one and go to that node. Here it is 50. 50 is a dummy node. Once you reach the dummy node, don't print anything in the output. So you have finished your traversal. So this is your output of the in-order traversal. You can check this with this tree. Both will be same answer. So now what we have done is, we have found the in-order traversal only with the help of the pointers which are available in the double-threaded binary tree. We are not using any stack. So this is a main advantage, how you can get in-order traversal from a double-threaded binary tree. Now, let us focus on the advantages, disadvantages, and applications of threaded binary tree. So coming to the advantages of threaded binary tree, when you go for this, the traversing is faster because we are not using any stacks. And the second advantage is, we can easily find the in-order successor and in-order predecessor of any given node. Just look at the pointer field and you can tell it. And you can, using this double-threaded binary tree, you can move either in the upward direction or in downward direction. Because to move in the upward direction, we have the thread, and to move in the downward direction, we have the normal link. So both are possible. So these are the advantages of threaded binary tree. Now let us focus on the disadvantages of threaded binary tree. As I told in the structure representation, for representing the double-threaded binary tree, we have totally 5 fields. If it is normal tree, you will have only 3 fields, but now we have totally 5 fields. For storing the extra 2 fields, you will have extra memory requirement. So that is one disadvantage. So extra memory is required for storing the left thread and right thread fields. And then whenever you want to insert any node or delete any node, that process will be difficult when compared to normal binary tree. So these are the disadvantages of double-threaded binary tree. So when we have these disadvantages, what are the applications? Why we need this threaded binary trees? So the threaded binary trees are used in applications where you want to perform insertion and deletion to the tree rarely. Okay, only after creation of the tree, you will rarely perform insertion and deletion, but you will frequently perform traversal, because we have seen that the advantage of threaded binary tree is traversal is easy. So in some applications, you may want to perform traversals frequently when compared to insertion and deletion. For those applications, you can choose threaded binary tree, because we are not going to use any stack for this. So your operation will be faster. And also in some applications, your stack memory is limited. If you want to frequently perform the traversal, you have to use the stack memory. But if no stack is there, you can't perform the traversal. In that application, you can go for threaded binary tree. So these are the 2 ways where you will use threaded binary trees frequently.